can believe me." Yulong's gentle words broke all of young Miemie's disguises. Young Miemie is the kind of girl who always looks bright and positive. She always has a smile on her face. No matter how difficult life is, no matter how tiring reality is, she holds on to everything calmly. She never complains easily and is unwilling to show even a hint of weakness in front of Yulong. She believes that the best way to love someone is not to cause trouble to the other person, so she chooses to forbear and bear it alone. In front of her friends, she is the omnipotent and happy person who can always make others laugh. At work, she is the hardworking woman who never complains about being tired. In front of Yulong, she is the fearless one. But no one is made of steel. Every moment of tossing and turning in the middle of the night, every silence after a forced smile, every "I'm fine" is behind the tears she secretly wiped away. But she doesn't know that the harder she tries to pretend, the more clearly Yulong sees through her. Yulong is not a talkative person. His gentleness is not ostentatious, but as heavy as a mountain. He will not show off his affection in a big way in the circle of friends, nor will he protect her in a high-profile manner in front of everyone, but he will silently watch her back every time she lowers her head in thought, trying to understand her silence. He is the person who can tell from the slightly raised arc of her eyes whether she is forcing herself to smile, the person who can tell from the slight tremor in her tone when she says she's okay that she is actually very sad. He must be tired because she smiles so hard. He always thinks like this. Others think he is taciturn, but in fact, he just hides all his care in his eyes and actions. That day, young Miemie pretended to be relaxed as usual and said to Yulong, "I'm fine. I've been in good shape recently." Yulong glanced at her and said nothing. He just slowly walked behind her and gently put his hand on her shoulder. His tone was soft but loud like thunder. "Miemie, I know you are pretending to be fine." At that moment, young Miemie's body froze. She didn't dare to look back because she knew that as long as she met those eyes, all her disguises would collapse. "But you don't need to be like this in front of me," Yulong continued, his tone as gentle as the night wind and as firm as a rock. She finally turned around with tears in her eyes. She saw those eyes, those familiar yet unfamiliar eyes. The familiarity was the gentleness, the unfamiliarity was the deep heartache. Sometimes a look can really be worth 1,000 words, especially when you are exhausted but can't even say, "I'm so tired." The person who sees through you is. He didn't ask anything, just responded to you with a firm and gentle look. This is the tacit understanding between young Miemie and Yulong. He didn't force her to ask what happened, nor did he break her last line of defense. Instead, he used a loving look to convey that "I am here, I understand, and I won't leave." For many people, the most fearful thing is not that no one cares, but that the emotions they have tried hard to hide are casually revealed by others. But Yulong's method is different. He sees through her, but doesn't expose her. Instead, he accompanies her with tolerance and respect. He is ready and willing to open his heart. This kind of understanding is a deeper trust than language. It's affectionate even if you don't say it, "I understand it." It doesn't matter if you don't say it. Willing to stay with you forever. Hidden in the firm eyes is the promise of never leaving you, which is the most gentle confession of a person. When young Miemie saw those eyes, she finally knew that she was not fighting alone. In today's noisy and fast-paced world, Many people have long been accustomed to expressing their feelings in a high-profile and ostentatious way. But Yulong is different. His love is hidden in every careless detail. He doesn't say, "I love you," but every little thing says, "I care about you." He silently remembers her favorite drinks, disliked weather, cold body, and even which hand she is used to using to unscrew the bottle cap. These subtle details are more caring than countless superficial gestures. He won't say sweet words to others in a circle of friends, but he will quietly accompany her every time she is down, not disturbing her or judging her, just being there. When she needs quiet time, he will sit quietly with her. When she wants to talk, he will be the best listener. This low-key but deep love is the sense of security adults crave and the deepest support for the soul. True tenderness is not saying, "I love you" all the time, but making you feel at ease whenever you think of this person. Yulong used his actions to tell young Miemie that no matter how you become, I will not leave. In the process of growing up, we are always taught to be strong, mature, and independent, so we learn to suppress our emotions and use "I'm fine" as our mantra. Young Miemie did the same. She was afraid that her vulnerability would become a burden, and that Yulong would see an imperfect self. But she didn't expect that the person who truly loved her wanted to hug her more when she was at her most vulnerable moment. When she finally took off her armor and tried to say, "I'm a little sad today," that moment was not weakness, but great courage. Yulong did not blame her for concealing the past, nor did he shrink because of her struggles. He used his actions to prove that love is not about perfection, but acceptance of everything. From then on, she began to be willing to express her emotions and no longer forced herself to be an invincible, strong woman. In front of Yulong, she could finally be an ordinary person, a person who could be tired, cry, and rely on others. This dependence was the deepest trust she gave to Yulong and the most gentle change in her life. True love does not lie in how many earth-shaking things you can do for each other, but in whether you are willing to accompany and protect each other patiently and gently in the ordinary and trivial moments of life. Yulong's love is not a grand vow, but a slow and silent power that nourishes like a gentle stream. He never forces young Miemie to be strong, but tells her in his own way that she doesn't have to be stubborn. She can be the most real version of herself in front of him. In modern society, we are too often taught to be independent, rational, and not dependent on others, but the human heart is not made of steel. Everyone longs to be understood, embraced, and tolerated when they are tired. The essence of love may be that someone can catch you without judgment when you are at your lowest point, and someone can see the softest light of your soul in your imperfect appearance. Yulong is not afraid of young Miemie's emotions. He is willing to walk into her emotions, embrace her grievances, and regard her pain as his own. The depth of this love cannot be replaced by any sweet words. In life, we are often like young Miemie, accustomed to hiding our struggles behind smiles and swallowing grievances in silence, especially those who are kind and stubborn. We shoulder all the pressure but don't ask for help easily because we fear causing trouble, being looked down upon, or being disappointed. But we are only human. No matter how strong we are, we get tired sometimes. If you are tired too, please don't force yourself to hold on. Remember that you are not alone. You are qualified to be weak, to stop and take a deep breath, to be understood and cared for. Maybe there are people like Yulong around you, quiet, not saying many sensational words, but always silently behind you. Once you look back, you will see that their eyes have been on you for a long time. They may not be good at expressing themselves, but they understand you better than you understand yourself. I hope you can bravely take off your disguise and embrace the gentleness that has been waiting for you to rely on. The deepest loneliness in our lives is often not being alone, but feeling ignored, misunderstood, or denied in a crowd. Being seen is the most luxurious warmth of this era. Yulong is so touching because he truly sees young Miemie. He sees her efforts, her stubbornness, and the fatigue she conceals with a smile. It's not a superficial understanding, but a deep perception. This perception is the most precious way to express love. Each of us longs for this kind of understood love. Not every emotion has to be spoken aloud, but knowing in your heart that someone understands you is enough comfort. Although life is difficult, if there is someone willing to walk with you when you are most vulnerable, you will no longer be alone in that moment. A true relationship does not require you to be strong all the time, but allows you to occasionally collapse, be timid, and be imperfect. There will always be someone in this world who can see through your forced smile and understand the tears behind your silence. In conclusion, the story of young Miemie and Yulong reminds us that love is not about grand gestures or flawless facades, but about the quiet, steadfast presence of someone who sees you, understands you, and chooses to stay by your side through every storm. It teaches us that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a bridge to deeper connection, and that true strength lies in allowing ourselves to be human. May we all find or become that person who offers such unwavering, gentle love, a love that doesn't demand perfection but embraces every imperfection with open arms. Let this story inspire us to look closer, to listen deeper, and to love with the kind of patience and understanding that transforms lives.